With the launch of Jamaica's central bank digital currency, otherwise known as JAMDEX, many Jamaicans are excited about this new convenient way of transacting business. But probably just as many Jamaicans are resistant to this new legal tender. In last week's episode, we spoke about everything you needed to know about Jamaica's central bank digital currency, CBDC. I shared all the pros, but we didn't really discuss the cons, we only alluded to them. So let's get into those in this video. But first, if you enjoy learning about developments taking place in Jamaica and across the world, then subscribe and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss any of my weekly videos. I will be uploading a Learn With Me video every Sunday at 11 a.m. going forward. And some weeks I may upload bonus videos on weekdays, which are usually videos showing you around Jamaica. So let's get into it. Though CBDC and cryptocurrency are both digital currencies, they have quite a few differences. The major one is that cryptocurrency is not controlled by a central authority that can seize it for whatever reason. CBDC, on the other hand, is centralized and is basically controlled just like banknotes are regulated. But unlike banknotes, CBDCs may offer the government even more control over your money. Let's take a look at some worrying characteristics of CBDC. It's traceable. If you go to the supermarket and spend $1,000 in cash, that purchase is not linked to you. That's because physical cash offers anonymity. However, if you use your debit or credit card to pay, then the bank will have a record of that purchase under your name. Like your credit card and debit card, your digital money in your digital wallet can also be traced back to you. Every single transaction tracked and recorded. Now, why would the government want to be able to track you and how you use your money? Well, the main reason is that it can help with the fight against crimes like money laundering and the financing of terrorism, which is basically the same reason shared for having a national ID or a digital ID. And with that in mind, many lawful citizens are accepting of trading their privacy for convenience and safety. But CBDC being traceable in and of itself is not the biggest problem. It's the other characteristics plus its traceability that may cause concern. For example, it can be programmed. Digital currencies are programmable, which essentially means that they can be coded with instructions on how they should be used. How much money do you have in your bank account now? You're probably saving for a specific purpose. Imagine if your bank said you had to use all the money currently in your bank account by the end of the week or you would lose it. Would you be comfortable with such a policy? With CBDCs, your government could implement a monetary policy where, in order to stimulate the economy, they program the money to expire if you don't use it within a certain time period. You might think that's just a crazy hypothetical situation that would never happen. But guess what? According to the World Economic Forum's website, China began looking into digital currencies all the way back in 2014, and they have been testing their own electronic money in certain cities for several years now. It's called ECNY and is issued by the People's Bank of China, the country's central bank. In one of the tests, the subjects were given a few weeks within which to spend the digital cash before it expired. Digital money can also be programmed to become less valuable over time, thereby encouraging users to use it quickly. According to this New York Times article, in one possibility that economists have discussed, a central bank could program its digital currency to slowly lose value so that consumers are encouraged to spend it immediately. They may even be able to control what you spend your money on. There are a number of possible rules that they can attach to your digital currency, and that's a worrying thought. Now, could they possibly use this new level of control to punish certain people? When you consider all the features together, the fact that it can be traced and programmed, coupled with the presence of a digital ID, then yes, they can easily shut down someone's access to funds if they disagree with the government or levy financial restrictions against their political opponents. Think that's another hypothetical situation that would never happen? Well, we don't have to stretch our minds too far. Earlier this year, during a large-scale protest in Canada, led by truckers, the protesters caused traffic gridlock affecting businesses and the lives of everyday Canadians. So after threats and arrests did not stop the protests, the Ontario Superior Court approved the government's request to freeze protesters' access to millions of dollars that were donated to them online. The government even went as far as using emergency powers to freeze the bank accounts of those involved. All of this in a Western democratic society that doesn't currently have CBDC. So for now, CBDC, and specifically JAMDEX, which is what Jamaicans call their centralized digital money, is presently just another option for transacting business. But once it has been adopted by most of the society, it is almost inevitable that it will eventually replace cash, which means that there may come a time where it is the only accepted legal tender. Do you think that this is where the world will reach eventually? Here are a few things to consider when pondering that question. The World Economic Forum launched a digital currency governance consortium in early 2020 to include over 80 public and private sector organizations in 33 countries in places like Europe, North America, Latin America, and the Caribbean, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. They've since had several workshops and meetings in an effort to address gaps in the governing of digital currency. In this Observer article, Richard Biles, governor of the Bank of Jamaica, is quoted as saying, "I think they're going to coexist together, JAMDEX and cash that is, for a while. But hopefully, more and more, we will see that the digital currency takes over and cash will become a smaller part of transactions." Biles responded when asked if he anticipates the digital currency will replace cash in the long run. The Prime Minister was quoted in this Loop article as saying, "We're moving ahead in parallel with the system of digital transfer through the digital central bank currency, so that eventually all our payments, all our social support payments, or path payments, and so forth, and eventually salaries from the public sector will be going through our digital system." I implore you to do your own reading. Knowledge is power. As usual, I have all my sources listed in the description box. I will always make an effort to share both sides of the story. And if you believe this information is useful, then please share it, leave a like and a comment, as those types of engagements will let YouTube know that you enjoy the content, and then they will share it with more people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week at the same time.